Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and Happy New Year. I hope you all had a fantastic holiday. In this video, I'm showing how to use infusible ink pens on a mug using the Cricut mug press. I realized I don't have a tutorial showing how to make this, and I put all my Christmas mugs away and needed a new mug for the winter. I hope you find this video helpful. Give it a thumbs up if you do, and if you are new to my channel, I would love it if you subscribed. First, I'm going to find my template for my mug. I'm going to go over to Projects in Cricut Design Space, and then I am just going to type in mug design. The second one here I am going to click on, and I'm using a 12-ounce mug. So what I'm going to do is click on the size. I'm going to choose one of these that says 12 ounces. They give you lots of different options. For example, if I click on this, it shows a ripped edge. I usually like to just do the straight one, so I'm going to select that and make sure it's 12 ounces, and then I'm going to select Customize. This is the template that it gives you, and it makes it really easy to figure out your sizing for your images, and it helps you decide where you want to put your images. If you look up here, these red mugs, this shows you where your image is going to be placed. So this is with the handle to the left. So if you want this to be your front, you can put your image here. This would be wrapping around to the side, and then this would be the back. Or if you want your handle to be on the right, you can make this the front. So you can choose to put one image just in the front. So you'd kind of put that about here. If you want to do an image on the front and back, you can. Or you can do a whole wrap around the mug, which is what I'm going to do in this video. So I'm going to find my image, and I'm going to go over to Images. I'm going to be using the infusible ink pens, so I want to choose a draw image. So I just hit the plus sign for the operation type, and I am going to select draw only. You still can choose a cut image or an SVG file, but when you switch it to the pens, it'll make it look like bubble letters, or give the image kind of a bubble shape. But you can also color in your design with your infusible ink pens, so that's still an option. But I'm going to choose a draw image for this because I don't feel like coloring it in. I'm going to look for a snow image. I'm going to select this one over to the right. I do have Cricut Access, so this is included in my Cricut Access membership. If you don't have Cricut Access, then you would have to most likely pay for this. It doesn't say how much it is when it's not part of Access, but usually it's like 99 cents to $1.99. So I'm going to add this to my canvas. Now what I'm going to do is turn this where it's going horizontal instead of vertical. I am going to hit Shift on my keyboard because it turns it evenly. So I'll hit Shift and hold that down, and then I'll start turning this down. And you can see how it turns it better than if I wasn't hitting the Shift key. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it over here. And I want to make this the size of my blue area here. You can see these little tabs on the side. These will wrap around and be underneath the handle. So you don't want your design here. You want your design within this blue rectangle. So what I'm going to do is I want to make this entire design the same size as the blue rectangle. So I am going to bring it over here. Actually, I'm going to bring it down. And then I'm just going to grab my arrow and make this bigger. And I'm going to highlight over everything and drag this down because it's a little too high up on my design space. I might try turning this a little bit. I'm just going to play around with it and see what I like. And I might bring this back down. I like how I have this lined up where you can see a couple of the full snowflakes and then the rest are cut off. But I need to get rid of all this excess. So to do that, what I'm going to do is slice it. So if you look over in the layers panel over here, I have my design selected. Then I'm going to hit Shift on my keyboard and select the blue rectangle. And I'm going to come down here and hit Slice. It's going a little slow, but it just went. Now what I'm going to do is slide this over. This is our excess that we wanted to get rid of. I'm just going to delete that. Then I'm going to drag this down. And here is our rectangles. We don't want these anymore, so I am going to delete these. The slice button is almost like a cookie cutter. You want to get rid of all of that excess and you keep the parts that you cut out. So I'll delete that. Now I'm going to bring this back up here and I am going to get rid of this since I'm not going to be using that since I'm doing a full wrap. So I'll delete that. And if you were using it, you'd want to hide it or delete it before you clicked on make it. So now, right now, I want to center this with this outline here because you can tell that it's not totally centered. So I'm going to highlight over both and you can see that these are both selected here. And I am going to click on align and center. Now I'm just going to select on my design and I am going to choose the color pen that I'm going to be using. So if I click on this drop down, my pen is a fine point pen. It's 0.4 milliliters. So I'll select that. And I'm going to scroll to the way bottom where the infusible ink options are. And my color is blue for the snowflakes. And it's azure blue. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'll select that and that's how it's going to look. So now you can see our drawing in here and you can see this outline still. I do want to keep this because the pen is going to be drawing on laser copy paper. So I do want this and I want the Cricut to cut it out. So if you can see over here, it says basic cut. We want the Cricut to cut that. I also want this to be lined up exactly like it is inside of here. So what I'm going to do is select over both of these. You can see they're both highlighted and I'll hit attach. That way it'll be all attached when we bring it to the mat. Now I'm ready to click make it. I'm using my Maker 3 so it comes up with this option. If you're not using a Maker 3, Explorer Air 3 or Joy, you won't see this, but I am just going to select on a mat and hit done. Now what I'm going to do is mirror my design. You'll want to mirror it for this. And I'm going to come down here and hit continue. I'm going to have this cut out on laser copy paper. So I am just going to type in copy paper or just copy. And they do have an option for laser copy paper. So I'll select that and I'll hit done. In step 2, it shows the order of what it's going to do. So it's going to draw first, then cut. But since there's a spot for the blade and the pen, I can put both of them in at the same time. So now I will just show you how to do this on the Cricut machine. Cricut recommends using laser copy paper for infusible ink pens. I bought this on Amazon and I always have the links for what I'm using down in my description box if you're ever looking for something. I'm putting it on my green mat because it's not very sticky and it needs to be cleaned. Otherwise, I would be using my blue light grip mat and I load the mat into the Cricut machine. Here's the infusible ink pen that I'm using. I bought a large pack. You can see all of the pens here that comes with it. I prefer to use the pens over the markers because it's a lot thinner, so I feel like it draws so much better. However, the markers are great if you want to color any of the images in. I add my pen to clamp A, then I press the start button and the Cricut will draw the design first, then it'll cut it out. I just love watching the Cricut draw for some reason. I just think it is really fun. Once it's done, I turn my mat around to remove the paper. Here's the Cricut mugs I'm using. They come in a pack of 2, and once again, I'm using a 12-ounce mug. Here, I'm just turning on my Cricut mug press to let it start warming up. I take a lint roller and run it over the mug. This removes any dirt or dust on the mug so the ink will transfer better. Next, I place my paper over the mug. I have the tabs placed under the handle and I make sure the top and bottom edges are lined up well along the entire mug. Once I have it lined up, I add heat-resistant tape. I highly recommend getting a tape dispenser. It makes it so much easier. So I made a mistake here. I had the tape go too far and placed it directly on the mug where the paper and design went on top of the tape, which prevented part of it from transferring. I should have had both sides of the paper down before I added the tape. You want to add quite a bit of tape around the handle to make sure it stays in place. You just want to make sure that the tape is over the paper, not under it, and I'll show you the mistake at the end of the video. I add one last piece of tape on the top center to make sure it is held down well. Next, I add 3 layers of butcher paper over my design. I bought a big thing of butcher paper on Amazon, and I've already cut this down to the size that I need. The ink usually bleeds through the copy paper when it's heated, so this protects the Cricut mug press. When the mug press is green, it's ready to use. I lift up the lever and place my mug inside. You'll want to be careful not to touch the inside at all since it's really hot. You'll also want to make sure your entire image on the mug is touching the blue part of the mug press. You might have to adjust the handle a little when you press the lever down. The mug press will automatically start. It's really nice with this because you don't have to set the temperature or time at all. It automatically does it for you. You'll know the mug press is done when all 5 dots are done blinking. The mug press will beep letting you know it's done as well. I didn't time it, but I feel like it took about 10 minutes. Once it's done, I lift up the lever and touch the handle only and set it down on my Easy Press mat. It is extremely hot right away, so you'll want to give it a good 10 to 15 minutes to cool off, which is always difficult for me because I'm excited to see how it turned out right away. But once it's cooled, I remove the butcher paper first, then take off the tape and remove the copy paper. As you can see, here's the mistake I made with the tape directly on the mug. The paper was over it, so it didn't transfer in that spot. So that's a good thing to remember to not make my mistake. Once again, here's how it turned out. I love how the design is wrapped around the mug. I think a really fun project to do with the pens is have my kids draw something for their dad for Father's Day. I might have to do that this year, and I'll share if I do. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And once again, I would love it if you subscribed if you are new to my channel.